A question that I've been getting asked a lot recently, guys, is why are ball pythons so expensive and why are some ball pythons so inexpensive? In today's episode, I'm going to talk to you guys about the factors that can influence the price of a ball python mutation. And we're basically going to talk about how much money you should spend on a ball python depending on what your goals are and what you actually want to do with your ball python, whether it's just keep one as a pet or actually start a breeding project or turn it into a full-blown business. Let's check out some of the amazing snakes over here and we'll talk about what actually influences the price of ball pythons. Now, the price of ball pythons can vary pretty widely, you guys. You could get something as inexpensive as a normal like this for about $40, or you could spend a big bag and go out and buy like a $25,000 animal and up. One of the main reasons or factors that influences the price of a ball python is actually the rarity of the ball python. The reason that a normal would be so inexpensive, you guys, is because there's a lot of them out there on the market. They're extremely easy to reproduce in large amounts because they're obviously what you would find in the wild. So they are the dominant looking animal. So it's extremely easy to produce these, and there's a high supply of them, you guys, and there's not a huge demand for normals. Normals are very, very beautiful, and they are a great animal to start off with if you're just looking for a pet ball python and you don't want to spend that much money. You can get one fairly cheap. Sometimes you can even get them for free, you guys, if you're checking on Facebook or Craigslist. People are rehoming snakes and animals all the time. Sometimes they can no longer take care of the animal, or maybe they're moving and you guys can capitalize on getting something for free. But usually the rarity of the animal is going to affect its price range for sure. The rarer something is, the harder it is to make, and the less supply of them there are, the higher the demand there is, and the higher the price is going to be. It's pretty much like that with anything that is out on a market, you guys, whether it's a car, a shoe. The rarer the vehicle, the rarer the shoe, the more expensive it's going to be. So that's one of the factors that definitely will influence the price of ball pythons. Now, rarity of the mutation is typically what's going to influence the price of ball pythons the most, you guys. Basically, what makes the snake rare is its cool paint job, the genes that make it up, and how difficult they are to reproduce in a large amount. Something like this girl here, Rari, our Orange Dream Enchi Freeway Pied ball python, is going to definitely be hard to reproduce in a large amount, and it's also going to be very rare on the market. I bought this girl over a year ago, you guys, and I have still not seen this combo on Morph Market ever since. So that tells you how hard these are to make, and also it tells you that not a lot of people have this combination, and it's something that is rare. Now, something like Rari could actually go for upwards of $5,000 to $6,000 because she is a gene-packed animal. She's hard to make, and she is absolutely beautiful. I mean, just take a look at the coloration on her, the pattern, the pied making such a cool side pattern. Just an absolutely gorgeous snake. And also, guys, the better the snake looks, the higher the price is going to be, because that's going to affect the demand of the animal as well. And if there's a low supply of them, the price is definitely going to be high. And something like Ferrari or something of her rarity caliber is going to be impossible to find as a proven breeder or as an adult, unless somebody is just selling off their whole collection. And if you do find one as an adult, you guys, they're going to be way more money than $5,000. Trust me. But rarity of the mutation is going to be the main factor that influences how a seller prices that snake. Now, another factor that's going to influence the price of a ball python is how cool the mutation looks. Take, for instance, our boy Drake right here, you guys. Look at how cool he looks, just his pattern, so freaking awesome. He's got some really awesome flaming up along the sides, just an absolutely beautiful snake. The more beautiful something is, the more expensive it's going to be, you guys. Now, something like Drake, you could find very similar mutations to him pretty often. So his rarity factor is still pretty high, but not quite as high as something like Ferrari that we showed you guys. But the coolness of his paint job definitely helps to raise his price. And something like this guy, who is a fire yellow belly spot nose clown, is going to cost you about $2,000 to $3,000 for sure. But it's definitely worth the money, you guys, because let me tell you, he is going to make some incredible babies with the females that we've got lined up for him. Now, another factor that's going to play a role in the price of your ball python is its age. Now, depending on how old the ball python will depend on how much it's worth. Now, also another factor that goes into age is if the snake is already a proven breeder. A proven breeder is a snake that has either fathered a healthy clutch of eggs that went on to hatch, or a female that has laid a healthy, viable clutch of eggs. Something like this girl right here, which is a leopard albino 100% Hetford clown, could go for probably like $1,000 to $1,200 just because she is a proven breeder and she is about 3 years old. So the age and the size of the animal is definitely going to play a factor in the price of the animal. And the same thing goes for males, you guys, too. If a male is a proven breeder, his price will be a little bit higher than something that is not a proven breeder. But the closer that the ball python is to breeding size, typically the more expensive it's going to be. Now that brings me to our next factor, you guys, which is supply and demand. Now, we already touched on supply a little bit with rarity of the mutation. Like I said, you guys, the lower that something is in supply, the higher the demand it is for it, the more expensive it's going to be. But let's talk more so about demand. And the clown gene is a really good example to use for this, because the clown gene has been in high demand for over 20 years, you guys. It is one of the most popular genes in ball python, one of the most heavily worked with genes as far as breeding projects go, and it's an awesome mutation. Now, the demand for clowns is extremely high, so typically animals that are visual clowns or Hetford clowns are going to be more expensive than something that's not. It's just common sense, you guys, and it basically just comes down to how in demand that mutation is. But check out how awesome our little beautiful leopard clown male is doing. This guy is available on our morph market, you guys, so if you are interested in a clown ball python, check him out. He's also 100% Hetford albino, which is going to affect his price as well because he is rarer, and he also possesses a gene to make another recessive mutation down the road. So definitely what's going to influence the price of this little guy, but he's doing absolutely awesome, eating really well, and that kind of touches on supply and demand. Another factor that slightly influences the price of ball pythons is the gender. Usually, guys, females are going to typically cost you more money than males. One, because males are more readily available on the market. If you're breeding ball pythons, you really don't need a really large amount of males compared to the amount of females that you want to have. So a lot of times breeders are selling males because they just don't need them, or they don't have the space for them and they need to move them to a new home. So females typically are more on the expensive end compared to males, but it all comes down to those other factors as well that's going to really influence the price of that specific snake. Because if you got a really rare male, obviously it's going to be much more expensive than a female that is more common. However, if you have a really rare female and you have a really rare male, 9 out of 10 times, guys, usually the female is going to be a little bit more expensive than the male. And that leads me to another question that I get asked a lot, and that is, how much should I spend on my ball python? Now, guys, this is a question that has a lot of different answers, and it really just is based on what your goal is with your ball python. If you just want a ball python to have as a pet, then you pretty much can spend however much you want on your snake, whether it's $40 or $10,000. Get whatever you really love and something that you're going to enjoy for 20 plus years, because these guys do live a long time. So just make sure that you're buying something that you're really going to love and you're going to love it forever. And if you're actually trying to become a business or start a breeding plan, I would definitely suggest that you guys invest your money into recessive genes, which are typically going to be on the more expensive end. And if I were you guys, I would definitely try to invest my money into rarer animals that are more expensive, because that's just going to influence how rare and beautiful your own hatchlings are going to be when you actually produce them. So that's kind of how I would answer that question to you guys. I would go ahead and, if you're thinking about getting a ball python, kind of assess what you want to do. Do you want to just have one as a pet, have a few just as pets, or as a hobby? It's totally up to you. It's your decision. And that's kind of going to determine how much you're going to spend on your ball python. And let me tell you guys, I've spent a lot of money on ball pythons, and I don't regret it at all, because they're absolutely awesome. And I have the potential to make some really amazing offspring in the next few years. So that pretty much wraps up today's video. I hope I was able to teach you guys some of the factors that I think about when I price an animal that I've produced. If it helped you guys, definitely let me know down in the comments. Also, comment down below if there's any factors that I missed that you might apply to your snakes when you're selling them. I'd love to hear about it as well. And also, guys, do me a big favor, smash that subscribe button for me, please. I would really appreciate it. Also, go and check out our memberships. They are up and running here on YouTube, so go and check those out. If you're interested in joining one, hit that join button for sure. And I want to give a big shout out to the Recessive Gang, Darius, AJ, and Dre. Keep doing your thing, you guys. I will talk to everybody soon. I'm going to get to cleaning all these tubs. We got to get some fresh water in here, so I'm going to get to work. But I'll see you guys next time. Peace.